Hello, I'm Beelzebub, and welcome to my channel. There was a Black Lives Matter protest in the town square in my hometown today. I was at work when it started, and by the time I got off work and had the opportunity to eat for the first time today, it had ended. But I did go to where the protest happened, and I wanted to talk about it a bit. So many people expected there to be a riot instead of a peaceful protest. But when I got there, there was no sign that any such thing had happened. There was no trash on the ground, no damage to any of the surrounding property. There was hardly any evidence that even larger crowds than usual were there at all. I did notice something though. Some people who were at the protest were still there, many of whom were these wannabe Rambos that went there as counter protesters. On a quick side note before I get into this, I want to quickly mention someone who came into the place I work who said he worked for the police, but I'm guessing wasn't an officer. So I'm unsure of what the nature of his professional relationship with the police is. But from what I heard him say was that he got a call from an officer, and that officer told him that his plans for the night were changing from what he thought they were. I bring this up because this person said that he was going to spend his night beating people up, and that he knew people who were going to the protest that had ARs in their cars. Not a great look, but such is it's a fact of life in a dominantly Republican area. But getting back to where I was about the wannabe Rambos, these people were dressed in military style clothing, wearing ammo vests that I have no trouble imagining had more ammo in them, and carrying guns. Some of them were quite large guns. And the reason I keep hearing from people who bring guns to these protests is to protect property. And I'm forced to wonder if these people really do value things more than they do other people. How many of them claim to be pro-life and they're carrying these weapons with the intent to use them if they need to protect things? Someone tell me, because I seem to be missing something here. If there were to have been a riot and some windows got smashed, which has the greater value? The window that's going to be replaced by insurance when all is said and done anyway, or the living human being that's smashing the window? I really want to know the answer because so many of these people seem to tie themselves up in knots trying to defend this position. But after I decide that it's time to go and I'm on my way back to my car, the quiet is broken by what kind of sounds like one of those really loud firework things you give to children. They're called bang snaps, and you throw them at the ground and they explode. It sounded like a really big one of those. So I look over to my right to see what caused the noise, and I see a person standing in the middle of the street, and they're holding a whip. This person brought a whip to a Black Lives Matter protest. My first thought upon seeing this was that this person wanted to whip black people the way slaves were whipped by their masters. Obviously, I can't attribute motive to something I don't have context for, but it was my first thought. And if the idea of bringing a whip to this kind of protest, I honestly don't know what to say. I'm completely at a loss for words to this. I mean, what was this person thinking? Were they thinking? I would say that I'm interested in hearing what they have to say for themselves, but I think there's a very real chance that it'd make me sick to hear. That's all I really have to say. Seeing as I missed the protest itself, I can't really speak to it. I will be posting a link to posts from a local reporter's Twitter account who covered the protest, as well as a link to the Black Lives Matter webpage. That'll do it for this one, everyone. Please stay safe.